Hello, hello. Hi everyone. How's everyone doing? Anyone in chat? Welcome to our 4th live stream. Today we'll do a demo on negative painting. So before we start, I want to show you some of my paintings that I have used the negative painting techniques. For example, in this flower painting, all the leaves are done using the negative painting techniques. So the background actually looks something like this. And then I start to paint around the leaves to create all these different layers as I go. Here is another example. You see the vase here. I'm actually painting around the vase to darken the backgrounds here to make the vase look like it's popping out. And you can also use it in actually a lot of cases, not just the flowers painting, but flowers painting might be the most common cases where you would be using the negative painting techniques. But like in this landscape, you see the background here. So I'm painting around the house and around these piles of snows instead of painting the house and the snows. So negative painting, let me write it here. Is about painting around the subjects. For example, if we have a leaf here, if we're usually you will just draw this shape out, and then you will be painting inside these leaves, right? So this is inside here. This is the positive shapes of the leaves. But if we are doing the negative painting, so what we do is we paint around these leaves. Right. So in this example, like the houses here, and the snows at the background there, instead of like painting the house, what I did was I paint around this house to make the house pop out. So like negative painting is all about the negative shapes, and in most of the paintings, both positive and negative shapes are important. As you can see in this flower painting, there are colors inside this flower as well, but there are also negative painting to create the layers for the leaves here. And we will start from a really simple example. Oh, there's another example that I used the negative painting technique. You see these pillars it looks very complicated, but you actually just need to paint a few layers, like paint around these pillars to create this layering effect. By the way, if you check out the descriptions in this video, you can find the link to a Pinterest board. I have collected some reference photos from Pixabay, which is a license-free site. So we'll use some of those photos as the reference. Okay. Collected. Hello, hello. The snow scenes is so impressive. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, these are, let me see if I can show the Pinterest board here. Right. Wait a second. So, it's in the, okay, there we go. Add the browser source. No window capture. There we go. I think these images are all quite suitable for doing the negative painting techniques. The one that I use in my thumbnail is something similar to this one. As you can see, the shapes are very repetitive, but you can actually create the layers even within something like this. And also these autumn leaves, these are also some classic examples that you could use for negative painting, and I think the effect would look really nice. So we'll start from the most basic one, and then we'll try a more complicated scenes. You need to be really structured or organized when you do negative painting. Yes and no. I think it's always good to plan, but there are many cases that I just go with the flow. Or especially like these, for example, in this painting, I do have draw out some of the pillars, but I didn't draw everything out. I only add more as I go. So you don't really need a very detailed planning, but planning is always good when you're doing paintings. So let's take this down and okay. And the techniques that we will be using is actually very similar to the glazing technique, because there will be layering involved. We start from the really light layer, and then we paint a darker layer over the lighter one after it's dried. So after you have paint 3 layers, you will start to see the effect. The more layers you paint, the more complicated the scenes will look like. Okay. So let's start with is my camera focus? Let's start with the leaves. We could use this one again. Right. Oops. Okay, maybe I should do it to show the positive and the negative shape in watercolors. Okay. I think I want to show you two ways that you can do it. So let me just draw 3 of these. And I think we could move the camera down a little bit. So for the positive shapes, you are painting the actual subject. You paint inside the subject. I can't see the chat. And for negative shapes, you are painting around it. You could do a flat wash around it. If you wanna see the demo on some of those basic watercolor technique, you can check out our earlier live streams on basic watercolor techniques. So I'm just using one color here. Usually you want to add a little bit like details inside, but mainly is to paint around the subject. But like I said, in most of the paintings you would use both negative and positive shapes. Now the second way of doing this is you use a graded wash, so something like this, to paint around it. Like this one, we are trying to do a flat wash, but you could use a graded wash, and that's what I mean. You paint around it. Actually, you need 2 brushes, and the second brush you get some clean water. Make sure that the brush doesn't have a lot of water, and then you just soften this edge. So it looks like it's fading into the background. Oh, Nightbot was working. I'm sorry, I don't know why. Too much emo? So you use a graded wash for the background, and we'll be using this technique pretty often so that the subject would look like it's fading into the background in a more natural way. If I'm not explaining clearly, or if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. So I know, like, if I'm doing it clear enough. So again, this is the positive shape, and then both of these we are painting around the subject. So both of these are we are doing the negative painting, but one is with a flat wash, and then the other one is with a graded wash. And now I will show you how to create the layers. So again, I think we will use this little leaf as an example as well. Let me take it down. So we will have a nice border. Masking tapes are sticking together. We'll do a small, quick example. Similar to the reference photo of the leaves, but we'll use this one as the example, and I think it will make it more clear to you guys. So again, just going to draw leaves. And then we'll now paint around it. If the area that you have to paint is pretty large, you can either wet the paper first, or make sure that you have enough paints and you're working fast enough. Basically, try to do a flat wash. A really light wash. If you work fast enough, then you won't be able to get the water mark. You can get a really nice flat wash. maybe I think we should do both at the same time, because we have to wait for this to rest, to dry. So I will do another example over here. Let me just tape it quickly. Now I should do it at the lower part. Basically, we just keep trying to paint around the main subject, using the negative space to frame the subject and to make it pop out. the Christmas song. I read that you can use the BTTV emote on YouTube chat, but I haven't really tried that yet. For another example, instead of like using the white color as the base color, I want to do a light wash of variegated colors. So let me just this is this color, the first layer that we have, and for this one we'll do a wet into wet wash. So I'm going to paint I'm going to lay down a layer of clean water first. And then maybe we'll use the yellow and green color. Just try to vary the colors of this first wash. And I will be using these same series of colors to create the layers. So we are using quinacridone gold here and some sap green. I think I have dropped in some of these intense blue. We could use a darker green as well. Right. Now this first layer is sort of dried already, and we'll start to paint the second layer. And to let you have a clearer look, I'm going to draw using a pencil so that you can see where which part I will be leaving out. So I'm drawing a leaf, something like this, underneath this one, and maybe we can draw it over here Let's get another one over here. You can change the size, like vary the size of the subject and vary the size, the shape as well to create more interesting shapes. But here as a demo, I'll be using the same shape so you can have a better idea of how, like where the second layer is. Alright, for the second layers, we can go slightly darker, as we have to paint from light to dark. So I'll be doing the same thing. Try to paint around this shape. You can see that it is very similar to the glazing effect. It is actually the glazing techniques. So you paint layer by layer. And when you are using the glazing, you might want to check if the colors that you are using are transparent. Because if you use too many opaque colors, you might get really muddy colors really fast. So that's trying to wet both sides and before it dried up, so that we can get a nice flat wash. So you see here, you already see the layering effect here, right? And this part is still wet. I'm gonna pick up this excess water. Basically, you will be repeating this process. So after this layer is dried, you can add in more leaves. But again, instead of painting the leaves itself, you paint around it. And slowly, like repeating this process, you will be able to get the layering effect using the negative painting techniques. I just decided to add some details to this one. Have you guys tried negative painting before? It's not just a technique that you could use in watercolor. Because I think in general, like even if you use pencil or other medium, it's also quite common to use this technique. Alright, I have never tried. It's actually quite fun to do some like small studies or exercise like that. And you will find that you even if you didn't do a painting just using the negative painting technique, you will probably have used it in some of your paintings. When you darken some parts to make another part pop out, you are actually painting in the negative shades. So let's see if I think we should work on that one. Although it still look quite a little bit wet. So this one I'm just using one color, and here I'm gonna show you can actually mix in the colors. It doesn't have to be just one colors. You see it's still wet, so it's like fading out. I think we have to wait for it to dry a little bit more. It's still kind of wet. Taja, welcome, welcome. How are you? How are you? So let's see. This one looks alright. It's still a little bit too wet here. We are trying to do the negative painting demo here today. Just starting with really simple examples. So let's mix a darker shade. Actually, the first layer here is the white of the paper, and then this one is the first color that we put in is actually became the second layer. And again, we can try to draw the shape in. It will be easier if you have an idea of like what the shape is of the leaves. But actually you can go with your flow too. So I just draw 3 leaves inside. think it gets slightly hard to see because the pencil line gets kind of faint. But I have a little leaf here, so I just paint around it, and then I will be painting around them. I also have another one here, so I have to paint around that one here. That's the stem. That's where the leaves is. I have another one here. Oh my god. Simple idea, negative painting, but one that may require some forethought. Yes and no. Because you can always like adjust it, but yeah, it's nice to have an idea of how you want the painting to look like, and before you start painting. So it's always nice to have a plan beforehand. So you can see is the layering effect is starting to show up here, and we have only painted in 3 colors, like 3 times, like 3 layers. If you can get to maybe 5, that would be really nice. Just have to let it dry. We will continue to work on that one, where I will be using different colors. But like the examples that I was showing you guys earlier, when I was painting these leaves, I didn't really plan out every single one. I only have a sort of a vague idea, and then like here I can actually continue to paint in the other layer, so I could like paint in another layer over here as well to just keep working on it to make the layering more prominent. And this one I definitely didn't draw out every single one of them. I have some major ones draw out, but then for those in the back, it's just continuously working on it, like adjusting on the go. Yes, it's always nice to have a plan. Like this one, I didn't really plan, but I will be using a pencil to draw for that one. That would be easier to look. I wanna load up the reference. So let's use this one. We'll use this one. Let me make it smaller. Not copying exactly, but more like using the shapes as a reference. I can't see the chat if I have this open. Okay, let me pop out the chat so that I can have both on my screen. People really go all out with masking. Definitely, you can use masking tape. You can use masking fluid as well to save these white space before you paint over it. If you have used the masking fluid or masking tape, then you can easily paint over them. But I rarely use the masking fluid. Alright, so let me try to draw the maple leaves again. So for this one, instead of just using a flat wash, I'm hoping to use a combination of colors to do the layering. That would make it look more interesting, I think. But the idea is the same. The whole idea is really simple. Just keep painting around the subject and using layer by layer. And I am trying to just fade out these colors as long as it doesn't create a hard edge. Right. So let's try to add another layer for that one as we wait for this to dry. I think one problem with this glazing technique is you really need to wait for the layer to dry before you put in another layer. if you have really complicated shapes, the subjects, yeah, it might be easier if you use a masking fluid to just preserve the shape. But for more organic shapes like this, I feel like you don't really need it. And I'm adding the shapes as I go, like deciding on the spot. So not really planning too much ahead. I think I'll start to add in some darker colors. It's not completely dry yet. Decided to add another one underneath that one. So just imagine the shape and paint around it. It is kind of flexible. It is quite fun to do as well. Oh, fireworks too. Good morning, UFO. Welcome in. Thanks for joining. How are you? You know, you can really just keep going. Go deeper and deeper. After each layer is dry, you can continue to put more layer in. But you have to wait till it dry first. Oops. Oh, morning. Morning cup of tea stream, welcome in. I'm doing good. I finished my dinner and now trying to do a demo stream here. These are all both of these are the really basic practice that you can always try when you have time. Asian bot Ross, thank you so much. I don't know what to do while waiting for these to dry. So you can see that's what happened when it's not dry. It will just the colors will run to the part that is not dried. Just trying to clean it up a little bit. Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate you and very kind words. Both of these are still very wet. So I don't know what to do. It is actually quite similar to the monochrome study here as well, when we use just one color. But in this monochrome study, I'm painting in the positive shapes. Like I'm painting in the mountains, I'm painting in the trees, I'm painting in the statue. So all of these are the positive shapes. You can actually paint the same thing using the negative shape. So instead of like painting in this mountain, you could paint around it and then maybe fade out the colors. So do a gradient, something like this here, where you use a graded wash, so you can get the negative shapes. Similar things around this statue, you can paint around it and then let it fade out. So you can apply this technique in almost everything, and it's just the effect would be different from that one. And you can decide, like, depending on which effect you would like, you can decide whether you want to paint in the positive shapes or the negative shapes. Like for this one, I would have to add in these positive shapes to it inside these leaves as well, because this whole white area is just too big, and if you just leave it completely white, I feel like it looks kind of incomplete. So I think I would just add in some of these leaf vines as the detail. So this is the positive shape that I am painting. Hello Vicky, welcome in. Happy to see all these familiar faces, and thank you guys for joining me. Again, I think while we are waiting for it to dry, I will just add in these details. How are you, Vicky? That's a cool emo. if you guys tried it or using the reference on the Pinterest board, do try to post it on our Discord and share it with us, or tag me in social medias. Ready to art? What are you drawing today? I think this little study will look more complete after adding in these leaf vines. Still wet, so this part is still wet. Okay, this is starting to dry up, so I think we can add another one for the lower part. You don't know yet. Oh, I'm not showing the reference. I have to take this out. So which one I'm showing? Okay, I'm showing the right one. Too many windows open on on the screen. Which one should I look at actually? I should close this one. Alright. So, oops. Oh, why does it keep coming back? Again, painting around it using a mixture of yellow and green. And I'm using another brush with clean water to just let the color fade away. So it's strongest around the shape, but then it will start fading away. It's not completely wet. I mean, it's not completely dried. This shape doesn't look nice, so I'm just adjusting it. Okay, let's get back to the first one again. Oh, thank you, thank you. As long as you paint from light to dark, you'll be able to get this layering effect. You love negative in general. It is a useful technique and has a lot of applications. Negative shapes are important in compositions. So I get really dark already. I might need a hair dryer if I wanted to dry faster. Still pretty wet. The use of hairdryer is to dry paints. Yeah, that's probably necessary if I'm doing a demo. Usually if I'm doing a painting, I will just work on some other parts while waiting for that part to dry up. Excuse me. All you need is a little bit of patience. So here I just paint around, and there we have another leaf. Guns N' Roses reference? Why is it a Guns N' Roses reference? The reference photos are all from Pixabay. Oh really? That's a song from Guns N' Roses. I didn't know that. I see. For this one, the orientation of the leaves are pretty much the same. It's all similar, very similar. Where's the leaf? Where did I drop the leaves? But for that one, I try to the leaves in different orientations as well, as you can see in the reference. Like if you change the orientations, like vary the size, then they will look more interesting, and vary the colors. Let me see if I can use this command. Hello, Midnight Germany. Welcome. The mod? How do I use the mod command? Doesn't work. Does the wiki command work? It doesn't work. Oh my god. What does it work? No idea how to get the commands to work. Are you coming in from Twitch as well, Midnight? Oh, there we go. We have the commands here. What commands do we have? But how do I add stream elements as the mod? It doesn't have any commands here. Let me try again. Ah, you watch me on Twitch sometimes. Do you use the same username? Thank you for joining us here. We are trying to do a simple demo on negative painting. I'm basically trying to work with this one, but I have to wait for the paper to dry up a little bit more. And I am now trying to adjust the shapes so they look slightly more clear, has a more clear form. Appreciate all you guys for coming in. I haven't figured out how to use all those commands yet. I thought I had stream element as the mod. I don't even know how do I set up the mod now. I think we need some leaves over this side as well. Maybe I could turn this into another leaf. Try to fade it into the background. Okay, let me see. This one, the what kind of leaf is this? Lotus leaf or taro? Like leaves like these with more unique shape, those would be nice reference for painting, for doing this negative painting exercise as well. Because you can, if it has a more unique shape or interesting shape, then it will look more interesting when you paint it. Or when you are trying to craft them or paint around them. Looks like lily pads. Taro's leaves are also similar to that one, but yeah, lily pad is another example. I think I have a lily photo. Okay, hold on, let me go get it. So, like in this photo, in this painting, not photo, like I also paint the background using layers, using the negative painting techniques. So you see these are from the first wash, the lightest color, and then I keep painting around them, but didn't really use the same color. So for some part I darken it more with the green and the black colors, and then some part I use some dark brown and dark blue colors. So it's more like using this technique than that one, but the idea is basically the same. So you keep working on the layers. That one is not as obvious, but here, like this part is also trying to craft out this leaf here by painting around it. So especially when painting flowers and leaves, this is really helpful techniques. Like here as well, see these dark shades. After you paint these dark shades, you will push the background backwards, and then the subject will be able to pop out. Like here, you darken this part, and then this flower will pop out as well. Shall we do the mushroom or jellyfish? and start doing on another one, because I don't know how long this one is gonna take to dry. It's still kind of wet. So I guess we'll try on another paper. Or should we do a simple landscape? Maybe we'll do the tree one. Too many choices. Oops, where's the reference? What would you define by simple? Like the shape is there isn't that many variations, or that there isn't that many layers. Maybe we should do the tree one. Like this one, that's also a very classic example. Let's move this over a little bit. Feels like I need to connect my, I need to get a hair dryer so that we don't have to just sit there and wait for it to dry. I'll probably have to come back to that while waiting for that one to dry. Okay, let me start with a pencil sketch. What does simple means to you then? So you do it layer by layer when the paint is dry. Yes, it is the glazing techniques that we have talked about in our second live stream about basic watercolors techniques. So we use we paint over the subject by layering, but you have to make sure that it's dry before you paint on it, otherwise it will, like, you cannot get a definite or a sharp edge. For example, here the colors are eating in, like this part, you see the leaves, the shape of the leaf is not it's not very clear. It's because the paper is wet, and when when you paint over it, the colors are mixing together on the paper. If it's dry, when you put another layer over, it should give you a really clean edge. You can fix that layer by layer. Not many complex shapes and simple color with little to no shading. That makes sense, yeah. So that one would look more complicated than that one, right? So I'm actually still waiting for this part to dry so that I can put in more leaves there by painting around them, because they're still very wet, so even if I put the colors in, they kind of like blend together. So let's do the tree one. The tree is another really simple, not simple, it is a classic one. Let's not use the word simple. It could get complicated if you keep working on it, I guess. I'll try to sketch most of it out and then we'll start painting. The thing about drawing flowers and trees and nature is that, you know, even if you make a mistake or you didn't really follow the photo, it's still okay. That one could get really complicated with all these branches. The bottom one is more complicated, yeah, because the first one I mainly just use one color from light to dark. Here I have added in a little bit of Payne's gray, so it gets even darker. But for that one, it's a mix of yellow, green, and blue. So it will look more interesting actually, that one. And then there's a tree that I don't even know if I will follow this pencil line, but they are more like a guide. It's not. It doesn't mean that you have to completely follow them. You can, when you're painting, it's a lot of the time you just respond. You keep responding to the current result, and you make adjustments as you go. You might. It's okay to change your mind. It's often that you might want to change your mind as well. You like this reference? If you do use it and try out this technique, do show us. You could use a monochrome like that one, only one color, but you could also try to paint it with different colors. I think that's about it. So Should we try to follow the reference colors, or should we try our own? First step, I don't really want a complete white layer, so I think I'm going to wet the whole thing and do a light wash. That light wash would be the lightest color. I'll use the spray. I'm picking up excess water. I think we'll do more like a purplish color. When choosing colors, I forgot if I have mentioned, try to use more transparent colors so that you won't be able to, like, so when you are doing the layering or mixing, that the colors won't get muddy that fast. We'll use cobalt blue, maybe a little bit of permanent rose. And choosing the colors for darkening is also easier to choose adjacent colors close by. For the first wash is really, you can just put in whatever you like. But remember to go from light to dark, so don't get it too dark. And it's okay to have some white spots here and there. Oops, this might be a bit too dark. We have a really light wash of the colors. Dreamy Forest. Again, we need to wait for it to dry. Let's pick up this excess water. My board is slightly tilted, so all the colors will actually run towards the bottom. And if you don't pick up the excess water, you might get some bad run effects from the paints. Now back to this one. Now that it's drying. Gosh. Now I'm still using the same 3 colors, the quinacridone gold, sap green, variegated green, and intense blue. Still just using the same color in mixing. It's just the value, the darkness is different. I think we can. Looks like it's still kind of wet. as you go, the shapes that you will be painting will also get smaller as you start to paint in more layers. So let me see. I will refine this shape further now that it's dried. Maybe I will cut this, so separate these two. Add another one over here. Probably another one here as well. See, now we have two more leaves popping out. Do we need another one down there? Here. Let's get another one here. Just trying to create the feeling of having more leaves under the current one. Imagine that there's one something like this underneath. I already forgot how many layers that we have paint on that one. But you get the idea, right? Here, after like the colors are kind of looking too similar. So after it dry, we can probably go in further to craft out the shapes again. Now let's move on to the other side. Okay. Still kind of wet. I think today is pretty humid. It's taking quite long to dry. As I said, when you start to paint in more layers, the shapes would actually that you were painting would look smaller. Like it is very quite easy to create that interesting atmosphere using layering, glazing, and when you use colors that are close to each other, like within of the same, basically of the same. How do I say it? When you use like colors from the same family, like blue and green, blue and yellow with the green, is basically within the same range. It's also easier to create that effect. If you use contrasting colors, that would be harder, and it will be easier to get the gray color and the muddy color look. For certain part, I just want to darken it a little bit, and then like I said, you could soften this edge and so make the shapes stand out a little bit more. Come back to that one. It's a lovely purple color here. It's actually, the colors are actually mixing on paper. So I'll be using the same cobalt blue and permanent rose.
think it might be a bit too red. Let's make in some more blue. Again, painting around these tree branches. Actually, I might have to paint over that one as well. And you see how this first branch is already popping out. Just drop in colors and let them mix on paper. Don't have space. Alright, come back to fix this last part. Manage mode. Let's see. How do I edit? Don't know how. You had some issue with the second layer? Can you show what do you mean by having issue? Your first layer was clean and uniform. This one here. Fail to edit the mod. But the second one wasn't. You guess you didn't paint quite enough. Can you post a photo on Discord and let us see? What do you mean? I guess it's because for the second layer you will have more shapes to paint around, right? So it's easier to have more patches. But when you have more subjects to paint on, sometimes they will cut the composition into different parts, so you can work from one part to another one. Are you using the tree reference? I feel like I really need a hair dryer because it's taking forever. It's so hard to arrange so many windows on my screen. I can't see all of them at once. You could post on Discord. You use the leaf. This one? Yeah, let's take a look, and I think it will be easier to understand. What should I do? It's still so wet. It's still really wet. I can... Like this part is starting to dry, but this part you can still see a little bit of shine. I guess I'll add more layer to that one. Oh, which channel? You can post and share your art if you don't mind. Artwork channel. I see. So this is the I see that you have one light green layer and then you have the second layer. I think it's still okay because you know so this is the second layer, right? After you keep working, painting in more layers, those patches would be gone. So these two leaves, the second layers, they look fine. They look uniform, and that's fine. When you paint in the third layer and the fourth layers, and you start pushing more layers to push the background backwards, the patches won't be able to see it. You probably won't be able to see it. that's why I think it's actually okay to do the second layer like something like this as well. So I think it will be okay. It won't be very obvious as you keep on adding more layers to it. the the magazine cover turns out really cool. So let me try to add one more, a darker one here. And you see as I go, like the shapes that I paint in gets smaller and smaller because and it it just gives you a feel that when I paint in this part, oh, there might be another leaf downstairs, but I'm not really painting out the whole shape of the leaves. Yes. So you can really keep on doing this. The more layer you create, the effect would be more obvious, I think. Like if you compare these two, I think that one has more layering, but that one we have done quite a bit as well. Also, let me take another look. You can draw some larger leaves and smaller one as well. So like vary the size at the same time. Vary the size and the orientation. I can see some of the pencil lines there, but you can follow them, but you can also just adjust them after each layer. It does need a little bit of practicing or getting used to it because we are more it's more intuitive to paint the positive shape, and when we have to paint the negative shapes, usually it would be like less intuitive. So I think we can continue on that one. Still, you see, it's still pretty wet. Let's continue. And I will leave this ground and paint. For that layer. Oops.
really don't know how to do this. Having trouble with the setting. I should just have these two windows. Oh my god, there's a bird flying over. I just try to smoothen some of the edges.
But you can now see that this tree is also start to pop out. You make this one slightly lighter as well. I think this stream is taking longer than I thought because we spent so much time just waiting for it to dry. Oops, everything is gone. Shall we take the tapes off? I think this part is already done. Ah, wait, we can add in some, again, add in the positive shape for this main leaves here. Whoa. Just a little bit of detail. That would make it look more complete. Oh, that's scary. But if you don't want to paint in the positive shape, it's completely fine as well. Because the vine looks a little bit too strange. That's how they look, right? Hey, 大家. Yeah, like I said, all you need is a little bit of patience, let it dry before you start adding in another layer, and usually you will start to see an effect after 3 layers, but would look much better if you can get it to like 5 or even more. Now look at this. tape it properly here. But that's how they look. And you can see the white layer is the layer that we paint around. So this is actually the first wash we put in. This pale pink or brownish red color. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The darkest layer isn't very obvious actually, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's continue with this one. For that one, I will probably come back and work on the tree in front. But for now, for the background, I will just keep on adding the layers with more cobalt blue and permanent rose. Oh, this green one looks really good. It's because I'm using a variation of the colors when I'm painting around the subject, but the technique is basically the same, but the effect would be more interesting when you use more colors to paint around them. Like visually, the effect looks much nicer. Here I can hardly see the pencil line already. You can only see a sort of a guide, but not very clear. Small paintings are so cute. These are like studies and exercise. It would be fun to draw. Like in the reference paintboard, you can try painting mushrooms or the jellyfish. Use those shapes as well. And I also have one reference of the seashells. Those would be interesting as well. Oops, this is too blue. fade this out. See, that's what happened when the underlying layer is not completely dried yet. Can come back to fix this later. Mainly, you can just soften this out so it will look like it just blend into the background, and that would be okay. Come back and make a more definite line later on. Here I just wet this area a little bit because I just want the color to fade out. So when I paint over, it already has water there, so it will just blend into the water. There's another way to get a smooth smooth edge. Really handy to have two brushes working at the same time. Oh, thank you. I hope my demo was clear enough because I keep jumping back and forth. So I feel like it might be too confusing. Do let me know if there's any questions. It's always more interesting to vary the elements in a painting that include like the size of the subjects. If you are painting more than one of the same subject, usually you don't want to have the same size you want to vary them a little bit. Also the orientation and the colors. Like, always try to vary them to get a more interesting results. Imagine if you are painting circles and using the same technique to paint circles layer by layer, it will have this bubble effect as well, which could be quite interesting. So really a lot of applications, especially on illustrations, but also even in regular painting. I also use this technique very often. Gosh, it's already 12. It gets really late. I wanna... Let me get a hair dryer. Hold on. Okay. It's still a little bit wet. I mean, it would really take forever if we just let it dry naturally. Had to take the hair dryer out. I thought this demo will only take me like 2 hours at most, but how long are we on already? 2.5 hours already. So let's just get one more layer done. Does that look too strange. Maybe I will paint over that one. So I'm adjusting the shape again as I go. Then this one became another branch behind that one. So you can really keep going and create many layers. Paint over that. Again, crafting another tree trunk. So I guess for the first maybe 2 to 3 layers, you can still have a plan, like draw them out, but then as it goes for further layers, you could just go with your flow, adjust it as you go, as you paint. just soften this so to separate these two. You see how different these two look already, and this is our only the third layer that I put in, and a lot of these are not really planned, but just go as I go. it is kind of addictive. To keep adding layers, like breaking the shape. To a smaller shape. And relaxing. Yes. Because now I'm not following the pencil line already, but adjusting as I need to. As long as it looks reasonable. Right. Even if you make some mistakes, it's okay. Do show us your progress, Madanki. Especially when painting tree trunks is really relaxing. It's really random. See, when I paint this triangle here, then it looks like the branch just came out again. And yeah, it's fun to paint. Do you think it is difficult? Do you find this difficult? Or I didn't do a very clear demo. See, this is too thick. Maybe I need to just adjust this. Because tree trunk needs to be thicker down at the bottom, and then it will grow thinner and thinner. Right, so as long as you keep this principle in mind, it will be okay. This is very nice. Thank you so much. I want to show you guys how to do a really completely abstract paintings using this technique, but I guess I have to wait for another stream. It's getting really late. Like, if I see a rabbit here, I can actually craft our rabbit here. It is it gives you this illusion effect of, oh, looks like it's so complicated here, but really it's just 3 layers. I think we'll add a rabbit here. Very randomly decided to add a little bunny. See? That's how you just craft it out. And when you soften the edge, like that, it will fade into the background. Not a difficult technique. It could be confusing when you first try, but give it a few tries, and I'm sure you can figure that one out. It gets a little bit messy. Maybe I will just wash it out. And redo it. Just a big truck over here. Because this part is already complicated enough. Yep, so we have only basically paints like 3 layers here. And these are all done using the negative painting techniques. Actually can work further on that one. But I think it's already too late, so I think I will stop here for today. I'll keep the masking tape on, and maybe I'll further, like after this part dry, I will make the shape looks clearer, looks more clean. Yeah, like this part you can also put in another layer so that it will look like there will be more tree trunks at the back. It can really take a long time and keep working on it. But this is the most basic idea. Instead of painting the subject, the positive shape, we paint around the subject. And we can either just do a flat wash, or we can do a graded wash like that. Both will make the subject pop out, basically. And then we can also add in the positive shape, maybe a little bit more details if we want. So there are two examples here that we did. One with just one single color, the Indian red, and then the other one, we use different, like we use more than one color. We use 3 colors mainly: the yellow, the green, and the blue. This blue is towards green. It's a green shade. Has a green shade, so it's also basically from the same family. These colors are adjacent to each other on the color wheel, so it will look the result will look harmonious. Yeah, so that's the idea. And that one is also more similar to this one, where we mainly use 2 colors, the cobalt blue and the permanent rose. So you can see a hint of red here, and when the 2 colors mix, you can also see the purple color. Makes it looks like a snow scenes. Snow scene. Yeah, and we've decided to add this little rabbit here. I hope you enjoy watching this demo. It's a little bit messy. Like we really need the hair dryer so that we can paint faster instead of like moving to different examples back and forth. But I guess that's it for today. Thank you everyone for joining me. Really appreciate that. What else should I say? This technique is mainly about using the glazing layering technique that we have talked about in our basic watercolor tutorial. So if you want to see how it actually works, you can check out that videos as well. If you use the reference photo that I pinned, do show it to me. Share it on our Discord, and would love to see that. So, Taja, thank you so much for joining. And thank you, Madanki, Vicky, thank you guys for always being so supportive. Really appreciate you guys. My next stream will be on Saturday. We did the drawing for the Greece landscape. It's also in the reference. We did a drawing of. I closed it already. Anyway, of that Greece landscape, I will try to paint it on Saturday, like that one. So hopefully I'll see you on Saturday. Have a great day, or have a great evening, everyone. See you on Discord. Take care, everyone. Okay, I should stop streaming here. Bye bye.